The Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 8:44. Today's date is October the 24th of 2023. My name is Tony Maribel. I'm acting as chair. Ms. Pearl Wise and Mr. Alvin Roche are the two other panel members. Our remote location this morning is at Rapides Parish Detention Center. Mr. Branch, is there anyone there from the staff at Rapides Parish there with you?
Yes, sir.
Would you please ask them to introduce themselves?
Sergeant Marsh.
Thank you, Sergeant Marsh. Our next case is going to be Mr. Clinton Branch. Mr. Branch, let me explain our procedure to you. This is a parole revocation proceeding. First off, I'm going to go over your parole revocation questionnaire with you. Then I'm going to read the allegations against you as to how you are alleged to have violated your parole. Then I'm going to ask you to plead either not guilty with a statement, guilty, or guilty with the statement. Then we'll have a hearing, and then you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the panel before we vote. Do you understand our process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Branch, do you have before you your parole revocation questionnaire?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's up on the screen as well. Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are those answers all accurate and correct still today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you ready to proceed with this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Branch, I'm going to read the allegations against you, and I'm going to ask you to plead. Number two, you have failed to report to your supervising agent as instructed. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty, but with an explanation.
Guilty with a statement, okay. The next violation is number three, you failed to provide probation and parole with a valid address. Several attempts to locate you at your listed address via phone proved to be unsuccessful. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
All right. Next one is number four, you committed the offense domestic abuse battery for which you were arrested and charged on or about February the 24th of 2023. You also previously committed the offense of domestic abuse battery as evidenced by your arrest on or about October the 2nd of 2022. Both charges were dropped on July 27th of 2023. That's a several part question. So I'm going to ask you, you were in fact arrested on February 24th and October the 2nd. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the charges were dropped against you as of July 27th of 2023.
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the charges that you committed domestic abuse battery?
Not guilty.
All right. Next violation is you have failed to provide proof of employment and or employment search to your supervising agent. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right. You failed to provide a valid address, therefore prohibiting probation and parole from making contact. How do you plead to those charges?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right. You are currently $1,569 in arrears, having last made a payment on or about June 18th of 2021. How do you plead to that allegation?
Guilty.
Number 13, special conditions. You must complete and obtain your GED. You have failed to provide proof of obtaining your GED as ordered by the parole board. How do you plead to that allegation?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right. And finally, special condition number 2, NAAA meetings 2 times per week and submit to random drug screens. You have failed to provide proof of attending AA meetings as ordered by the parole board. How do you plead to those charges?
Guilty with a statement.
All right. Mr. Branch, your case has been assigned to Mr. Alvin Roche. He will be beginning the interview with you. Please answer any questions he might have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Branch.
Good morning.
Good morning. I've read the file 2 or 3 times, so I'm very interested in hearing your explanation why you don't follow rules, regulations, and the orders of the parole board. So we're gonna take it one by one. What's your explanation? Are you pled guilty to condition number 2 and what is stated? So why didn't you report to your supervisor?
I was reporting, I was always at work and they would come to the job and visit me. And she came to the house, but I was at work. I
So
talked to him,
I read your statement. You at work 24 hours a day?
sir.
You were never home. What, do you work 24 hours a day?
No, sir, I worked from 5 to 4 o'clock. 5 in the morning to 4 in the evening.
Okay, so why weren't you at home when she visited after 4 o'clock?
She never visited me after 4 o'clock.
Okay. Condition number 3, you pled not guilty. And did you live at the address? And be careful how you answer this. Did you live at the address that was on your parole certificate?
Yes, sir.
But you were never there when she visited.
No, I was there the first couple of times when I first got out. But when I found a job, they always came to the job and visited. I just got the parole officer that I have like last year.
Okay. Now, condition number 4, you were arrested for domestic abuse battery multiple occasions, not only these 2 occasions, but you were arrested at least 2 or 3 other times, and all the charges were dropped. Is that correct?
You said I had multiple cases? No, sir, that ain't me.
Sir, you were arrested on February 24th, 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were arrested on October 2nd, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's multiple times.
Oh, I thought you were saying before then.
Well, there's a couple of arrests before then, but we'll talk about that later, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, the burden of proof on domestic abuse is much greater for the DA than it is for the parole board.
Yes, sir.
Your parole certificate says that you should not have any criminal activity during your supervision. And multiple arrests for domestic abuse shows that there is some criminal activity going on, but there was not enough evidence for the district attorney to bring charges. So my burden is much less than it. And I've read the police reports, and there was criminal activity. And I'll go over that a little bit later. So I want to let you know that my burden is much less than the burden of proof of a DA, because all I have to prove is that there was some criminal activity during your parole supervision. Condition number 6, you failed to supply proof of employment. And you said you pleaded not guilty, and you said you had a statement.
Yes, sir. I always filled out the monthly report for showing that I had a job, my wages and everything. I don't know why they said that. I had a job the whole 3 years I was home.
So you had a job.
Yes,
And you
sir.
were paid on a regular basis because you had a job. Why were you 2.5 years behind on your supervision fees? You have not paid supervision fees since June 18th, 2021, 2.5 years ago. So tell me why.
I got over my head in expenses on bills, and I couldn't make payments.
Mr. Branch, are you on supervision?
Yes, sir.
Did a parole board have grace and grant you the privilege of parole supervision?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no. Yes or no?
Sir, what was the question?
Did the parole board have grace and mercy and granted you parole supervision?
Yes, sir.
Your first and only job on supervision is to maintain rules and regulations, pay your fees so you can stay free.
Yes, sir.
And you failed to do that for 2.5 years. Condition number 13.1. The parole board, in its wisdom, put a condition on you upon release that you must enroll in a GED program. Why didn't you?
When I first came home, the pandemic was bad. And my parole officer stated that I would have to wait till the coronavirus died down a little bit, but it never did.
Mr. Branch, that reason that not even hold water. The pandemic has been over for at least 1.5 to 2 years. It takes 30 minutes to enroll in a GED class and attend classes. Why didn't you do it?
I mean, I asked about it, but I was working. I ain't have time really.
Again, it was a condition placed on you by the parole board.
Yes, sir.
Condition that you maintain your freedom and stay on supervision, that you attend GED classes. And you just flatly refuse to enroll in a program. Condition 2, you must attend at least 2 AA meetings a week. Why didn't you?
Like I say, the pandemic was going on at the time.
Sir, don't even give me that reason, because AA was on Zoom the whole time throughout the pandemic. There is no reason why you couldn't log on to any NA meeting and fulfill your requirement placed on you by the parole board. What I see, Mr. Branch, is an individual who has blatantly refused to follow any order placed on you or condition placed on you by the parole board when it released you on supervision. So tell me why you would endanger your freedom by not following the orders of this board.
It ain't that I wouldn't want to follow orders. I mean, I was focused on working. I had other things going on. It just slipped my mind. I'm not gonna make no excuses about it, because that's what I supposed to do. And I take full responsibility for it. Like, I messed up.
Thank you, Mr. Branch. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Branch, is there?
I have one question.
Okay.
There was something mentioned about you were bad on drugs. Did you go back and use it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So where were you working?
AFCO
And where?
Industries.
They never did a drug test there?
No, ma'am. Yes,
Oh.
ma'am. They drug test.
You
I It was just recently before like a month or two before I came to jail.
Did you start back using?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened that made you start back using?
I lost my mom. I lost my ex-wife. I mean, I was going through a tragedy at the time, and I know it ain't no excuse for me to go back to that.
You're not making excuses. I want to hear that you're making an excuse. I just hear that you didn't get first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. I am so sorry for your loss. We go to more funerals right now, and this season, then we get to go to weddings. I understand that. It's just unfortunate that that's the only place you look for help, not with a pastor, not with a friend, not with your PO, get you in counseling, just decide to go back to drugs. That's all I hate to hear. That doesn't honor their memory too well. You have to think about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Honor their memory. And I'm so sorry for your loss. That's all I had.
Thank you. Mr. Branch, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Man, I've been working on myself. I've been seeking God since I've been here, been incarcerated. And I mean, I just ask that y'all have leniency on me and see that I can do what I'm supposed to do. I just went down the wrong path again.
Thank you, Mr. Branch. Panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Rochelle.
Mr. Branch, I find you guilty of violating conditions number 2, 3, 10, 13-1, 13-2 of your supervision contract. Therefore, I'm going to revoke your supervision.
Thank you, Mr. Rochelle. Ms. Wise.
Unfortunately, Mr. Branch, my vote is the same for the same reasons, but I'm going to recommend that you get spent to see more and get some a long-term substance abuse treatment. That's my vote.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Branch, I agree with both my colleagues, especially with the treatment that you need at Steve Hoyle. Your parole has been revoked today. Good luck to you.
So, you said I do Steve Hoyle?
Well, that's been a recommendation. Your parole is revoked, so you're going back to prison. The question is, hopefully they can get you into a long-term treatment program to help you. Good luck to you, sir.